Hello Virgo, Virgo rising, and Virgo moon people. This is your monthly astrological horoscope for December 2017. Just a quick reminder for all of you Virgos out there, remember that these horoscopes talk about the big sweeping changes and sweeping aspects of any given month and all the background energies that go on for pretty much a fairly consistent amount of time. So I'm never going to put anything in these horoscopes that are just here today, gone tomorrow. If you are interested in more short-term aspects, please check out your weekly astrology and tarot horoscopes, but even if you're not into tarot, the first half is always exclusively astrology, so there's something in it for you. Everybody, actually. Anywho, and of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you just need to go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. So, what is going on with your astrology this month anyway? Well, from the 1st to the 25th, we've got Venus, planet of love, harmony, attraction, and favor, in your 4th house of home and family. And this can be a lovely aspect for a lot of you Virgos out there, because if you are looking to perhaps make money out of the home, either off the home or out of the home, this is for you. Venus does benefit the seller. If you're thinking about putting your home on the market or anything like that, you know, it's a good time to take this into serious consideration. This can also be good for home-based business operations, especially for those of you who do have a home office, or you are trying to perhaps actually start a bit of a cottage industry or anything along those lines. You know, Venus in the 4th house can draw that good positive attention to you. Venus is also lovely here for those of you looking to plant roots with a romantic partner, whether you're trying to perhaps, you know, plan on moving in together, cementing the relationship in that respect, or perhaps even, you know, just getting to know each other's more, you know, I guess you could say close relatives, close friends. Venus is trying to bring everything, again, in a way where it can all get under one roof and, again, start planting some roots. We also have, however, Mercury, our ruler, retrograde, from the 3rd to the 22nd. And this is in the same area, the 4th house of home and family. Now, this may not necessarily be a time for a lot of you to close if you are trying to sell a home, because, again, with Mercury retrograde, we may need to do some revisions, we may need to do some revisits and things like that, but that does not necessarily mean that Mercury retrograde is just crashing the whole effort. With Mercury retrograde in the 4th house, excuse me, though, we are going back in time a little bit. In all respects related to the family and the domicile. Some things with the home or with the family that we may have not necessarily seen, things that have eluded us, or perhaps things that have been overlooked, are coming out of the woodwork, and it's helping us to improve the situation, honestly. Mercury retrograde here can be good for a lot of you who are looking to perhaps reconnect with relatives and family members that we've become distant from, and some of you may actually find that they reach out to you. However, with Mercury retrograde, again, remember, it's not necessarily a good idea for you to be signing leases without, again, of course, checking the fine print, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, because sometimes we can have, you know, some extras we didn't account for show up. Of course, life must go on. We can't just bring everything to a grinding halt because there's a Mercury retrograde. So, you know, just use all precautions and take whatever precautions you feel are necessary and appropriate. On the 3rd, we have a full moon in Gemini in your 10th house of career. And this can be a lovely full moon for Virgos who are looking to promote themselves. Remember, full moons are culminations in astrology. They bring everything to a maximum so it can promote and evolve into something else. We are ending an old way of doing things and beginning something brand new. And this is in your 10th house of career. I've seen lots of people actually get promoted into new job titles during this time. Now remember, a lunation lasts in its influence longer than a mere one day. It goes for 2 weeks usually, unless it's an eclipse, but this is not. And so a full moon here is going to basically, its influence echoes from the 3rd to the 14th, to the 17th, excuse me, to the 3rd to the 17th. And so there may be opportunities for promotion, or possibly even trading up in terms of employers and job situations. If you're trying to find a new place to work, they'll pay you more for doing what you do. If you are trying to find a way to maybe go into bigger circles, your upward mobility is actually given the focal point during this time. And how can we actually, you know, move you upward, I guess you could say, in the work ladder a lot faster and a lot more, you know, smoothly than we've been given opportunities before. That is what the full moon is all about. And so it looks like a lot of good opportunities there for you. On the 9th, we've got Mars, a planet of action, energy, and conviction, moving into Scorpio, your 3rd house of communications, pacts, and promises. And this comes with its fair share of interesting. We'll just put it that way. One of the things I will say, and I'll remind myself, having a lot of Virgo in my chart, that when Mars goes into the 3rd house, we have to be careful not to speak too harshly or too bluntly, because we tend to, we may think we're being assertive when we're coming off all out aggressive and affected. And that's not necessarily what we want to do. With Mars in the 3rd house, however, it can be a time to overcome some obstacles or to actually, clear some confrontational energy with individuals that we've been having a really, really tough time relating to. Mars in the 3rd house can also be very, very helpful for those of you that are trying to perhaps recruit help into your life to expand on your team, whether you need people to help you out with a certain job, a certain task, or simply you need an extra pair of hands or eyes. Mars always usually shows up as a brilliant helper, defender, or a champion. This could be a friend or somebody brand new stepping into your space to help stick up for you and again help you fight back to back against any challenges that could be coming. Mars luckily will be here all the way up through the end of January. This is also a time where we will be bonding a lot more, getting closer to people that we're just seen as contacts or network associates or people that we had more of a professional relationship with. We may actually be getting a heck of a lot closer. Mars can also be bringing you closer to members of your generation in your family, siblings and cousins, but don't be, shocked if, in order to get closer, we have to butt heads. And there may be a fight or two along the way, but at the end of the day, it's all in the interest of clearing unnecessary blockages between us. On the 18th, we've got a new moon in Sagittarius in that 4th house of home and family. And there could be a new addition to your home or a new home if you are looking to move. Yes, we do have this lunation again. Its influence goes from the 18th all the way to the end of the month. Even though Mercury retrograde lasts until the 22nd, it's still there working for you. If you're trying to find a new place to live, a new roommate, or perhaps you're bringing a new addition into the home, maybe it's, maybe we're thinking about getting a roommate, renting a room out, maybe we're thinking about replacing maybe a major fixture in the home, doing some home repairs. This new moon is going to make things a lot more easy and a lot more affordable. A new moon in the 4th house can also indicate possibly an expansion on your family. There could be some news about somebody being pregnant or possibly even having a baby during this time. So all in all, a fair amount of good news coming again on the home front. On the 19th, we have a huge thing going on. Saturn, planet of discipline, obstacles, sometimes restrictions, is moving on into Capricorn, your 5th house of love and romance and relationships with your kids, where he's going to be all the way up for the next 2.5 years. Alright, so Mars in the 5th house of love and romance. Let's talk about the love and romance aspect first. Mars in the love and romance aspect is basically putting you to the test. Do you know what kind of relationship you want to have? Do you know how you perform in relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly? Do you know what it takes to have the relationship you want to have? Mars is the planet of conflict, but Saturn is the planet of tests. And when we have Saturn in the 5th house, for single Virgos, you may notice over the next 2.5 years that you are not losing potential partners, in dating and things like that. But Saturn is not letting us just sort of test the waters and dance around and improvise and play it by ear. Saturn is working on only bringing those partners that we want to have to last the test of time, which honestly is not a bad thing. However, Saturn will only bring serious people for serious relationships. So maybe if you don't want a serious relationship, but you'd like a something, that might be something a little bit hard to have. Saturn in the 5th house, however, can also talk about checking our personal availability in relationships, okay? Making sure that everyone, all people involved in the romance are, mentally, emotionally, ready for the responsibilities that they have to keep up in a relationship. Saturn brings us equal partners and serious partners. The reason I'm putting it this way, though, is sometimes we'll be surprised, at how who we attract during the Saturn in our 5th house will attract. You know, sometimes we think we know what we want. Sometimes we think we have this idea down to a T. We could describe this person in, you know, in a paragraph, and we may actually find out that our type, or what resonates with us, or what we're ready for, is not exactly what we were in the market for. Still could be something very special. When it comes to your relationships with your kids over the next 2.5 years, remember, Saturn is going to be bringing up tests. And sometimes what can happen is we may find that the way that we've related to our children has nothing to do with who our children can be as individuals. And we are getting to know our child again all over again. This can happen when they're young, this can happen when they're adults. In both aspects, child and romance, Saturn will set fire to the back burner. Whatever we've left on the back burner for too long, whatever we've not paid enough attention to, Saturn sets it on fire so we have a chance to work on it and give it the due diligence and due attention it needs. It can sound scary and intimidating, but remember, Saturn is not a mean thing. Saturn's actually an indifferent thing. Saturn's not the scapegoat everyone makes it out to be. There should be no scapegoats in astrology. What Saturn is doing, though, is basically forcing us to understand that we can have better. We just got to know what it takes for better. We have the Sun moving into this area of your chart, where the Sun will be at least until the 3rd week of January. And that will bring some much needed lightness and make this transition a lot easier on everybody. Maybe it won't set fire to the back burner, we'll just hear it boiling over. The Sun in the 5th house of love and romance can also bring an opportunity to, you know, bring some wholesome simplicity into your relationships, you know, more cuddly-wuddly, sort of sweet, newlywed, new couple kind of energy for us to play around and have fun with, and again, set a new tone and set a new standard for where the relationship is going to go. You know, very lovey-dovey. And we have the Sun also, again, bringing that much more sweet energy to your relationships with your kids. It gets even better, because on the 25th of the month, we've got Venus moving into this area where she will be till the end of January. And you will find that, again, with Venus in this area, we're attracting more partners to us if you're single, and bringing more love and romance into your relationships if you are already partnered. Remember that Saturn and Venus and the Sun all together in this area are basically showing you how good it could be. After they go, though, at the end of January, we will learn the lessons about what it takes to keep that standard or quality of life. So, have fun! So that's your horoscope. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.